So my name is Andrea Nicolai, and I work with the University of Florida in the Extension, obviously, and I teach food and nutrition classes in Polk County. And so I was here last week if you guys were here. And then with me, I have Josh, and so he's actually in the neighboring county, so he came to the office with me, so I'll just step aside.
Hello, my name is Josh. I'm a registered dietitian. I work for Hillsborough County. I will be up and running soon, just getting the internet to work.
It's always the last minute things, right? Okay, so of course it was working all day, no problem. And so we'll just get started, but luckily I'm doing the beginning anyway, so you guys are stuck with me. Um, okay, so we're an equal opportunity institution, and then I know some of you have been here before, and I just wanted to ask if you wouldn't mind. Okay, so there's all those circles, and we keep going over it every single time, and I just wondered if you guys can think of what any of them are without me doing it. So, like, like if you were to describe the Mediterranean way to somebody that has certain principles, and you could just, in summary, if you want to put in the chat, do you have any of them that you know of? Wendy, thank you. Yes, fruits and veggies. What are some of the other ones? Do you guys remember them? Oh, yes, alternative proteins. What is the alternative protein though? Yep, olive oil, healthy oils. And then what are the things to what should you eat for protein? There's like a couple. One's for snacking. What do you want to snack on? And then one's for yes, good job, fish. Good job, seeds. She's got it. Okay, so that, and then we have some, like, do you remember the three on the side too? Don't forget those. Like, they're like habits. Beans, good job. We can't forget beans. They're my favorite. Okay, so beans. So beans, eat beans, fruits and vegetables. There's another one. What do they say about the grain group? There's a certain thing about the grain group. And then there's one with a big X over it. Do you guys remember that one? If you haven't been here, you're just getting frustrated now, so I won't do this very much longer. Whole grains, yes, it is. Okay, so here, let's get some of them up there. Let's see, my clicker will work. Okay, so we got the fruits and the vegetables, whole grains. We got beans, eat more beans, fish, nuts and seeds, olive oil. Oh, yes, the herbs and spices. So that's how you want to flavor stuff, instead of using salt, herbs and spices. And then wine, but don't start if you don't drink already. And then there's the three on the side. I don't know if you guys remember them, but one would be exercise. So that's something we really want to do. And then there's eating with others, so socializing and enjoying your eating occasion. And then the last one would be cut out the sweet drinks. So the last one's the one like you're like, dang, so less sugar and just sweet drink, added sugar, added sugar. That's what we want to talk about. Okay, so, oh, eating a banana and some grapes, so that's perfect. You could turn your video back on for that. Okay, so what sets the Mediterranean way apart from other eating patterns? If you've been here, you probably have seen this slide also. So it's simple, which is really nice. It uses simple ingredients and simple food preparation. And then it's also delicious. It uses healthy fats, spices, herbs, and then the aromatics, seasonings. And then it's satisfying. So they use whole grains, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and healthy fats. So you get like a lot of the satisfying foods, which is really nice. Okay, and then how can you eat the Mediterranean way? So we've checked off a few of these now. So we've done change your protein, snack on nuts and seeds. Next week's whole grains. Last week, I think we get sweets. So today it's number 3 and 4. So eat more fruits and vegetables. And you're like, what is she going to tell us for eat more fruits and vegetables? Because we already know we're supposed to eat more fruits and vegetables, and what else can we know? So this is going to be fun because I'm going to try to tell you something that you don't already know, and maybe some hacks on to make it easier to make you more likely to eat the fruits and vegetables. So number 3 and 4, eat more fruits and vegetables. So like eat more vegetables. So you want at least 3 servings of vegetables per day, okay? And you want to choose a variety of colors and eat more, especially green leafy vegetables such as collards, kale, spinach, and turnips. So why do you guys want to eat different color fruits and vegetables? Does anyone know offhand? I know you guys are busy or you're either prepping or cooking, probably not by the chat, but if you want to unmute yourself, you can too. Flavonoids, yes. So that, but why different colors? So it's because they have different flavonoids? Is that what you're, I'm just gonna guess. So each color does something different for you, right? So that's why you want to eat a variety of fruits and vegetables. And that's like the main thing about eating fruits and vegetables is you don't get so much protein from them. You maybe a little bit, but and usually they're not even very high in calories, so they don't always give you like especially energy, but they give you stuff to make you beautiful and make your things in your body work well. And every color does something different for you. Really cool stuff. And so, and then we know we want to choose leafy greens, especially the dark stuff, as much as we can. That's really good for our heart, and it looks like it's really good for our brain, like preventing memory loss and stuff like that. And then eating more fruits. You want to have at least 2 servings of fruit per day, and variety colors again, and then include berries. So we got one thing my job is kind of crazy on just sometimes it's a little bit frustrating because like one study will come out with something about like eggs or butter and then coconut oil, and then another study will come out the total opposite. And you're like, okay. But the one thing I have to say that is kept all through my career and before, as far as I can remember, is like we can all agree on eating more fruits and vegetables. People are never like, that I don't know. Like I'm sure you can find something, but in general, everyone says eat more fruits and vegetables. And that's not something controversial at all. It's just we know that. There's a lot of evidence that supports it. And it's really cool too, as fruit and vegetable intake goes up, your weight goes down. So they found like they did studies, okay, specifically. Excuse me. And there's the weight busters. So there's berries, apples, pears, cruciferous vegetables. Does anyone know what those are? You guys have to tell me what. Type in the chat if you know what would be an example of a cruciferous vegetable. Then there's green leafy vegetables, all of their fruits and vegetables, and non-starchy vegetables. But then the ones that they found just didn't help so much with the weight loss would be corn and potatoes. You guys know the number one vegetable in the United States would be potatoes. So that's something maybe if we can get a little bit away from the starchy ones. Good job, you guys. Okay, yes, broccoli, cauliflower are considered cruciferous, and they're called that because their flower is like a cross when they grow. So there's like cauliflower, broccoli, there's bok choy, kale is actually one, Brussels sprouts would be one too, cabbage. Yeah, so those are good. And then the takeaway then is, yeah, we just need to consume more fruits and vegetables, but maybe focusing a little bit less on the corn and the potatoes, which are probably most popular here. Okay, and our diet should be built around fruits and vegetables. So they're like the main event on the plate. And they help protect against chronic disease and help protect against overweight and obesity. So kind of exciting stuff. And so why don't we eat them? You're like, I don't know, right? Excuse me. Okay, so there's 3 main reasons. So it'd be cost, hard to cook, and don't like them or like other things better. And I love fruits and vegetables, but they really sometimes like they're not, can be a little bit more challenging, right? It's really easy to grab like a cracker. So just like trying to make all those things not be an issue anymore is important. And so we'll show you how to do that. So our goal then is to try to make all fruits and vegetables, make them cost effective so that you are saving money, convenient and craveable. Perfect. So cost effective would be the first one. So buy on sale and be flexible. So, and also don't let organic or exotic fruits and vegetables keep you from eating more. That can be something, you don't have to, either one really helps, conventional or organic. And just prices can really differ. Like as you can see here, there's a 5-pound. So the picture on the left is a 5-pound bag of conventionally grown, which would be opposite or organic, pretty much. Conventionally grown apples, 5-pound bag for $4.97 each. And then there's also these would be 5-pound bags for $2.99 each. So that's both pretty good deal on that. And then you can see the organic Honeycrisp apples, and that's $4.29 per pound. So that would be, you could get 5 times more of the conventional than the organic just for this case. Maybe, so maybe in this case, if you're watching your budget, maybe this would be a time where you buy conventional, and maybe when the prices are closer together, and maybe that's when you splurge and get organic. And you can always buy organic too. There's definitely, that's great. It's good for the environment. But I just want you to know, like, eating fruits and vegetables, no matter how you get them, is very important and good. So buy what's in your food budget with the ultimate goal of having an eating pattern. That's just eat a lot of them, and then build your menu around fruits and vegetables that work for your budget and your food taste and your shopping preferences. So be flexible and try to buy what's on sale, because that can really, really help. Just getting the sale ones, and that week maybe I get strawberries this week when they're on sale, and maybe next week I'll get apples when they're on sale, and maybe skip the strawberries. So just kind of trying to be flexible. So CSA, do you guys, anybody know what that stands for? Want to guess? I'll tell you, it's a program that allows you to buy produce of local farmers, and it's usually by paying a set membership fee, and in turn, you receive weekly or monthly orders. And depending on the CSA, you may or may not be able to choose items that you receive. So a CSA is consumer-supported agriculture. So it's kind of cool. It'd be kind of like you get a box like you see on the left there, and maybe you know what's going to be in it, and maybe you don't. But it's been shown to help some people eat more fruits and vegetables, because you have them, and you're like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to cook that, and you end up eating it. That would be not something that would be cost effective for you if you ended up throwing away half of the box, so just trying to like learn about yourself that way. And then, but they can save you money, and think about like how fresh the produce is, and you can know your farmer too. And the farmer's market also can be a great place to buy fruits and vegetables in season. And it gives you the opportunity to talk to the farmer and be like, how'd you grow this? Which is really awesome. And then it's staying local too. And sometimes farmers markets will sell you large quantities of fruits and vegetables at really great prices. So that can be a fun thing about that. All right, and then buying canned or frozen. So sometimes I'll ask classes like, which is the best kind? Do you to eat fruits and vegetables, fresh, frozen, or canned? And they're all good options. So that's pretty cool. Good to know. So it's like you think about canned, there's advantages to those. Frozen, there's advantage to those, and fresh. So canned and frozen, they can be great, like budget-friendly options to get more fruits and vegetables on your plate. And plus, they're usually already cut and prepared for you, like broccoli, right? You could buy a bag of broccoli florets, and all you have to do is dump it out and heat it up. Whereas the broccoli, if you got the fresh one, you would have to, cut it. Usually, I guess you could just heat it up in one big thing, but you have to do a little bit more preparation. And then when there's a hurricane or a storm, or when you just can't get to the store, canned ones are so nice to have on hand because they're not going to go bad. And they'll just, the fresh ones, sometimes we find them in the drawer later. And so just having these other options can be really great. And the frozen, they stay well too. They have long shelf life on these. So they're kind of like can help you in between store trips to make sure that you keep getting fruits and vegetables. So, and you want to choose fruits and vegetables that have no added sugar or salt, and you can do that. There's a lot of cans now, like peas, no salt added and stuff like that, because then you're just getting peas come off water, and that's all the ingredients. And they come straight from the field to go into the can and into the freezer bag. So I think sometimes we think like, oh, they're like the ones that, like they tried to sell all the fresh ones, and then they're like, let's throw this in the can if it doesn't work. But no, it goes straight from the field and just right away, within hours, to the processing plant. So they really try to keep it at that peak of freshness, where sometimes, the fresh one in the store has been sitting there for a while. So it's crazy. In a way, some of these could actually have more nutrients than the fresh. So that's why all three forms are great. So you get all three, can be good. And you want to plan so there's no waste. And that can be really helpful. Did you guys know You probably heard because we talk about it a lot, but just, we waste close to 1/3 of all our food purchases. Sometimes people say 30 to 40%. So that would be like Josh going into the store and buying 3 bananas, and on the way out, he like throws one in the garbage. Because that's about how much we waste. And so if we can plan for that so there's no waste, be like, okay, so I have this third banana, and maybe you could try to fit it in during your day. So, like saying, maybe you usually take crackers and cheese for a snack, but you see that banana, you're like, okay, I'm going to take the banana this time, and then you won't have any food waste. So just trying to plan meals accordingly. And if you see stuff starting to go bad, there's lots of different ways to use fruits and vegetables. I think you could probably email any of us and we'll be happy to help you with that. But just thinking about smoothies or in baked breads and pancakes, great way to use up stuff, or omelets if you have extra vegetables. So just thinking about that can really help. I mean, that's a huge money saver because if you don't throw away a third of the stuff, you'll have like way more food. And then this one, thinking of the value too. So sometimes, fruits and vegetables, they are a little bit expensive, especially like things like blueberries, you're like, I want to eat you, but they can be pretty expensive. So we found that consuming 9 or more servings of fruits and vegetables resulted in a 60% reduction in cardiovascular disease. So it's a really good value. Like if it keeps you out of the hospital with medical bills, and it keeps you like happy and healthy and be able to move around and not be dependent. Things like that can really, add up a lot at least in your head. But a diet heavy in fruits and vegetables, yeah, long-term value, good investment. So thinking about that. And then wanted to talk to you about prepping. So that was the other thing, right? Sometimes they're not convenient. So thinking about costs, okay, so like we got things to do with that. We can buy in season, we can buy, like be flexible on what's on sale. And then also looking at, what did we just talk about? Because like like looking at CSAs or farmers markets and things like that. And then planning so you don't waste as much. But prepping also can make it really convenient. So you might find for yourself that, maybe you don't mind prepping and you're fine, like you'll take maybe an hour sometime and just prep some things and have them ready for you so they're all cut up and ready to go. But sometimes some people find that they just end up sitting in their fridge then without prepping. So like you would be the one that maybe it'd be better for you to get it already prepped. So if you like have the apples in the fridge and then you just, you want to eat them, but you don't, they just don't like call out it. Maybe you want to get the sliced apples where they're already sliced and you can just grab a couple at a time, or the baby carrots instead of getting the whole carrots. I actually just eat the whole carrots like that, but so you can do that too. Be the lazy way. But just finding out what's good for you, because the prepping, like buying it already prepped, is going to cost a little bit more, but if it helps you eat it, that can be huge. So prepping fruits and vegetables in advance for using cooking in a meal preparation helps you make them more convenient, and then try recruiting a family member to help you prep, because that can be good too, because the more that like especially kids touch fruits and vegetables and are involved with them, the more likely they are to eat them. So even if they just help you prep, like you don't have to eat it, but just they're around it and becoming more familiar with it, which can be good. So just some cool prep ideas would be to cook vegetables in advance to use it for omelets. So they like make some quick, easy, and delicious meals for breakfast at any time of day. So omelets can be really good. If you already have vegetables cooked, you just throw them in and then you got a meal. And prepare 3 to 5 vegetables in advance each week to have on hand for quick, easy, delicious stir fries. So say I had some fresh broccoli, some fresh cauliflower, and some fresh like carrots. Maybe I could get all those prepped and then I'll have those that week for the stir fry. And oatmeal for, not with the broccoli, but prepare fruits in advance to go on top of oatmeal so that in the morning, that you can just be really quick and add that. And then if you're washing berries in advance, be sure to dry them thoroughly. Otherwise, they can go bad pretty quickly. So, sorry. Excuse me. So, how far you take the prep is up to you. You can prepare ingredients for use in meals later in the week to help you get meals on the table quicker. You can prepare fruits and vegetables, whole grains. You can prepare healthy proteins in advance to make delicious meals throughout the week. So it's like you can decide if you want to do a lot of prep at one time and have all those things ready, or if some nights, you do want to make the rice and stuff like that. But something I found just works for me, and I'm sure all you have good tips, which I love. Like, I don't know if you want to share them in the chat, but that could be really cool just to help each other. But usually I eat a lot of beans, so I usually cook like one bean and then one whole grain in like bulk, and then I'll eat that throughout the meal, out the week in different meals and like have it different ways. And then the next week I'll do something different. And so I live by myself, and maybe like my family wouldn't put up with that. But just like if you can even do like a base thing where you can have it 3 times a week or something like that, can really help. I don't know if any of you guys do that, but that can be good. And oh, that's really good. Yes. Okay, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Sandy was just saying corn on the cob right now. It's a good price and it's delicious right now. So she roasts hers in the oven, unshucked. I'm gonna have to try that for 30 minutes, cooking a bunch at once and eat it all week. And then 1 to 2 minutes, you just can heat it up then. That is exactly what yeah. Like you could do baked potatoes like that too, because maybe you like them better in the oven, but it takes forever. So you could do that, and then you could just nuke them in the microwave. So the other thing too would be like deciding, lastly, how far you take that prep, right? So if you want to make meals or just the ingredients, so you can decide what works best for you. And maybe, if your family's eating at different times, it can be helpful to have some meals like prepared in advance so that people can just grab them out of the freezer and run, or you can take them for lunch or things like that. So it's kind of, those are the 2 really good options that you can do. So prepping just individual things or prepping like entire meal. Okay. And convenience, that would be exactly what Sandy just talked about, is taking like one vegetable or a few vegetables like they put here and roasting a pan of vegetables each week. And then you would have a variety of vegetables roasted, and you could just grab those. They're already cooked and flavorful, because roasting brings out the sweetness of the vegetable, which is really, we like sweet things. So that, but you can just cut up 1 or more of the favorite vegetables, toss them with a little bit of olive oil and salt, and then roast them at like 375 for about 20 minutes or so. And some vegetables take longer than other ones. You can kind of put a fork in there and you'll start to learn really quickly which ones are already ready to be off the pan and which ones take a little bit longer. But it's cool because then you'll have a variety. You can put those in omelets. You can think about putting those on top of pizza. You could make your own pizza. You could add them in a burrito bowl, things like that. So and then you store those in the refrigerator, and yeah, you can eat them hot or cold. Really good. The other thing would be the same kind of idea, just with the grill. So whenever you turn on the grill, then it can make really good tasting vegetables too. So besides putting all the chicken on there for the week, you could put on a bunch of vegetables, and you know, grilled fruit is a really good option too. Like grilled pineapple. I know people who do grilled watermelon, grilled bananas, and you can make grilled banana splits. It's pretty good. And then I like peaches. Like you cut them in half, put them on there, and then I have a coworker who does avocados on the grill all the time, and she shows me with the marks on the grill or of the grill marks on the avocado. It's kind of cool. But just thinking about if you fire up that grill anyway, loading them up so you can do that. All right, we're getting there, guys. There's so many fun ideas. Okay, so another thing that is this one, it's just really smart. And so you know how sometimes you have a spouse or like a child or somebody who's like, I don't eat leftovers, and you're like, okay. So here you can thinking of leftovers, not as leftovers anymore, but as an ingredient. So it's like you have leftover rice, or I just happen to have ingredient rice that I can use in my fridge. So thinking of it like that can help you like think of it fresh in different ways. I don't know if that makes sense, but kind of good word usage so that hopefully you can eat some more. So extra roasted vegetables become additional green salad. Um, Leftover marinara sauce. You can put sauteed greens in there, or you can add an egg in there. Sometimes do that. Grilled vegetables become a sandwich or taco filling, and then grilled pineapple to salsa or on top of fish. Be delicious. I was just at a friend's house and she made chicken with those cherry tomatoes and she um, baked all of it together, right? And then so she had leftover of the cherry tomatoes the next day. So we put them in a quinoa dish. So it was like quinoa, and then she put those tomatoes in there, and it was like the sauce from the chicken. But just that was a perfect way to like use that vegetable one way and then use it the next day as something else. So it's kind of cool. I just saw her do that. Okay, and now after all that, we'll turn it over to Josh. And Josh, do you want to start sharing slides? If you want.
Yeah,
I don't know if
just
you want to.
hit the green.
Yeah, I will. I can stop sharing. And then I'm going to run to the kitchen. So we'll be ready for you guys.
Oh, actually,
You want me to keep it up?
um,
Yeah, I should. All right, I got it.
yeah, okay. I'll I'll switch computers. You take that one. All right. Hi. Sorry, technical issues. Um, so we are wanting to prep veggies, but how long are they going to last? So it really determines on how cold you're storing them. So there's a quote down here. The difference between 45 degrees and 41 degrees is a huge difference. So for 7 days, anything um, below 41 degrees is safe, but then anything above would only be safe for 3 days. A good thing to think about when you're grocery shopping is while you're in the store, what things and produce are refrigerated versus what aren't. So, for example, if I go get leafy greens, they're usually in the refrigerated section, whereas potatoes aren't. Just keep aware that if you were to pre-prep your veggies, that it might reduce the quality. So, for example, if I cut up an apple, maybe it might oxidize, turn a little brown. If I chop some stuff, maybe it might be a little bit watery. So just keep that in mind while you store it.
Looks like the screen is not sharing.
Mine?
My fault.
Oh,
So sorry, guys. Smooth transition. And one more time.
okay. There we go. Good to go. So, uh, here we have some boring steamed green beans, and we can actually add some flavor with some oil and seasoning. So over here on the top, we have a summer green bean salad, which is on the Med Not Med's website. And they jazzed it up with some olive oil, herbs, and seasoning. And then on the bottom, they sauteed it in olive oil with lemon zest. They both look yummy. We can also jazz up our salads with some salad dressing. We have a lentil beet salad, a quinoa strawberry salad, some apple cucumber slaw. I believe last week we learned about fats, so we're going to do a little refresher on some salad dressings. All right, so we can say goodbye to going to the store and buying salad dressings, and we could just make them ourselves. Um, we can swap out those creamy, saturated fat dressings and substitute with some of our own. So here's some examples that were on the Med Not Meds website, like the chili powder, the sherry Dijon, the citrus, the balsamic Dijon. And all you need is a jar, an acid, oil, and some seasonings. So you just start with the jar, you put the screw lid on, you add the acid. So here in the example, it's the lemon. You add some oil, you add the seasoning, and then all you do is shake it up and serve it, and it will store in your fridge for a couple weeks. So you can really mix and match different seasonings to your taste that you would like. So here we have some spicy roasted cauliflower and some roasted Brussels sprouts. Roasting them lets it caramelize. It makes it taste better. When you think about Brussels sprouts, I remember being a kid and being served like boiled Brussels sprouts. It's not as good as if you just oven roast it. So you can always add some seasonings, make it a little crispy. I like to make mine more towards the burnt end, make it really, really crispy. So you can always add seasonings. So you can add a blend, make up your own. Here in the example, they have their homemade taco seasoning, a little bit of salt, some peppercorns there. So you can really pump up the veggies that you love and that your family loves. So instead of if you're having a family taco night, why not make it mushroom beef tacos? Kind of sneak in those veggies. Instead of spaghetti night, why don't we substitute for a whole wheat pasta and then maybe throw some beans and greens in there? And so on and so forth. So if you trade out half of the meat with the beef tacos and mushrooms, you're really cutting down on that saturated fat, and it's overall going to increase that quality of the food that you're eating and the nutrients that you're getting. So next we're going to talk a little bit about the mindful eating and the med way. So instead of just eating in front of the TV and not really paying attention to what we're eating or when we're eating, we're going to talk about the different cues and things to kind of slow down and be present in the moment. So it's the mindful eating, it's the practice of what should I eat? How much should I eat? How should I eat? Why do I eat? So putting this all together during mealtime. So eating without distractions, no cell phones, no TV, no computer, no working, just you and the food. So I know I myself, if I'm in front of the TV, I will eat probably more than I would if I was at the dinner table with family talking, taking the time to slowly eat. Being distracted by the phone, I know for myself, it'll tend to lead to more salty snacks later in the day. So if we're sitting down with family, taking the time to eat, enjoying each other's company, it's going to make not only eating more enjoyable and something to look forward to, but really kind of focus in on what we're eating. So you want to eat slowly and enjoy every bite. You don't want to just scarf it down and then go on to the next thing throughout your day. Just take your time. Um, think about how it tastes, the texture, the smell of it. Getting to eat slowly will kind of help you control the amount of you eat and greater satisfaction from eating. So we want to try to take the time to make a meal last at least 20 minutes. So we know that when we're hungry, we get a cue to eat, and it kind of takes around that amount of time to from the food entering our stomach to being able to, okay, I'm full. So just taking the time and going slowly, it will help relieve any uh, ways of overeating. So you want to listen to your body cues. You want to think: Am I hungry? Am I bored? Am I not having a great day? And I just really want some Ben and Jerry's. Just being mindful of: Am I hungry or am I feeling a different emotion? Kind of thing. So there's some external stimuli that kind of let us know that, wait, maybe I'm hungry, such as like smelling or seeing or talking about food kind of gets us to think about wanting to eat. Mindfulness kind of leads to intentional choices in eating instead of responding to emotional cues and your environment. So really sitting down, taking time thinking about, am I hungry? Um, or am I just bored or sad or any other emotion that we're feeling? So here's kind of a scale of how your body feels while hungry. So if you are so hungry, you would be at a 1 where you feel weak and lightheaded. You might start to feel like you might pass out. Have you ever heard of the term hangry? That might be where you're at a level 2 where you just don't want to talk to anybody. Everything makes you upset. We start to feel kind of slightly hungry when your stomach is rumbling and you notice the signs of hunger. Maybe that's when you're going throughout your day and you start to think about food. And then we have our neutral and satisfied, where you're not really thinking about food and you don't have any of those hunger signs. And then, of course, around Thanksgiving time, we could get to those 7, 8, 9, and 10 levels where we're overeating and we're feeling uncomfortable, comfortably full. So as you're getting ready to eat, just think, where am I on this scale? From a 1 to 10, how hungry am I? Am I on the 1 end where if I don't get something soon, I'm going to pass out? Or am I on the 10 where I'm so full, I'm going to be sick if I eat any more? And kind of thinking, I want to be towards the 3 and 4 end to know that it's an appropriate time to eat. So here we have the website where Eating the Med Way, where all of those recipes came from over the weeks and the ones that we're going to go do today. Here are some with oven roasted vegetables, making a nice little rainbow, and the Brussels sprouts. I'm going to go ahead and show the ones that we'll be working on today, and that would be, oh no. Oh, don't think. Oh, technical issues. Well, we're going to see it in person with Andrea. So I'm going to go see Andrea. Are you ready for the food demo? Oh, and you got your screen share? Give you the computer? Okay. We're going to transfer. Is it going to hook it out of the internet?
Well, they're getting that ready. How many of you guys are going to be cooking along tonight? Anyone? Are we just going to be what? Not tonight? Okay. All right. Well, they'll be setting that up. And all right. That sounds good, Carol. Thanks for letting us know. And just give us one moment while they transition to the kitchen. Any questions so far? Don't these look delicious? That sounds delicious. Oh, that's cool. Katrina, you'll have to take a picture of it. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see all the veggies in that too. Ah, yay. That's exciting. We might all need the recipe next. All right, there's Andrea. So I'll go ahead and spotlight you.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, everybody. You've been great. So some people are cooking. Is that true?
Think everyone is just watching, following along tonight.
Okay. Okay. All right. You guys can see us okay. Kind of see. See.
Yeah. Patricia, do you mind hitting the spotlight? I don't have that feature.
Yeah, I can try to.
Give me 1 second. There we go.
Whoa.
Thanks.
You're good.
Okay. So I just washed my hands, and then I have Josh with me too. You want to come since we're here anyway? So got both of us, and we're making 2 salads. So they're very similar, or they're both fruit salads, but it's just showing you 2 ways that you could do it. So the first one, let's do the fruit chaat first. So that's chaat means kind of like snack in India, and so you could have a lot of different things. But the key ingredient for fruit chaat that I've seen from the recipes anyway is that it has a secret ingredient, the sweet potato. So it's like a fruit salad plus the sweet potato. So what I have right now, we split the recipes in half so that we're not making quite as much because it's just us here and you guys aren't here. But what I did is one small apple so far. And then I made a sweet potato, right, and cooked that already. And you could roast it just like on those roasted vegetables that we talked about. Or I actually, because I don't mind it this way and kind of like them soft, I microwaved them and then cubed it. So we'll put that in there. Okay, so we got that. And then we have an apple. We have the banana. That's easy. We'll put that in there. And it's really nice because if you don't have one of these fruits at your house, I have some people in the class, they've sent me pictures, but just that use different things like blueberries and strawberries. But the main thing that kind of keeps it unique in the salad would be the lime juice and then the sweet potato. And then it has a touch of chili powder at the end. So I put that all in there. Okay, so then we have grapes too. And these were so small that I don't even think we have to cut them in half. So that was really nice. They're the black ones. You can kind of see that a little bit. Okay, so we have the banana, we have the apple, and then we have the grapes, we have sweet potato, and then we need lime. So it calls for 1 to 2 limes. We're going to use 1. If you want to put that in there. Okay, so he's going to do the lime, and then he's also going to do salt. So we need just a dash of salt too, just to bring out the flavor. That would be this much. So after you do that, and then here's your other. Yeah.
Okay.
You got that. And so we just left the mango and the pineapple just because I think sometimes people are like, that looks a little intimidating. And you guys probably already have your favorite way to cut this. But if you don't, I'm just going to show you mine, or my 2. So we got mango. There's that really big pit in the middle. So Josh just put in a little bit of salt. And if you want to put in the dash of chili powder too, you can get that ahead of the game. So the only thing left now is that we have is this mango. And half of it's actually going in the other salad. So this is something like, when you're at home by yourself or when you're not on camera, you like try to pick around and get all the stuff around the seed there. Okay, so there's a couple ways to do it. So I have the half, and you don't usually eat the peel. You don't eat the peel. And so you can do it like a checkerboard, right? Okay, so that's one option. Then you take a spoon. So we got checkerboard on there. And then you can just kind of use a spoon and I'll just scoop the cubes right out. Isn't that cool? I have to say too, sometimes it works better than other times. Josh and I were talking about this and we're like, this is usually one of those things you don't want to do on camera because then, it's going to end up craziness. Okay, so we got that. And so the other one, I just wanted to show you my other fun way. I like crazy hacks. So I have the glass, but if you could put the lip right on there, and it falls right in there, see? So that's kind of cool, but it depends on which way, I guess. Whatever makes you happier. So we got that. I think sometimes if you have kids, it's just nice to have like alternative options. I get a little bit more excited about that. Okay. So that is our fruit chaat, right? You might think it's kind of crazy with the sweet potato, but if you think about it, they call it sweet potato for a reason. So here's that one. Looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, and now we're gonna move on to the little bit slightly more complicated one. All right, so I think probably the first thing you need to do, how are we doing time-wise, Okay. All right, so we got pineapple. So Josh and I were talking about this, multiple ways to cut a pineapple too. So what I always thought was the best or most fun would be the top and the bottom, right? So it's like you want to shave the guy off. So that's something we can replant later, right? Okay, so you take this, and so then I do it just like, and then just cut each of the sides. And then there's another option where you cut it in fourths a little bit too. Thanks, Josh. Okay. And then there's the core in the middle, and that's a little bit harder. So that's part I want to take away. He's like, okay. So I'm going to cut it in fourths now. Okay. So there's the, right in the middle, there's like a tube, and that's like the core part, and you can just, it's not as chewable as the rest. So we want to take that out. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting it in fourths. I got all my pieces, and you can, eat everything at this point. It's just that if you try to eat the core, sometimes you'll just be chewing for a really long time. I don't know if anybody's experienced that. So I'm just going to, I can see it in there. I'll just take out, that one had a little strip of it. This one, I don't even think has any of it. You can tell because it's like a hard part. Take that off. Here's where most of it is. I didn't quite cut it in 1/4. Woo! Pretty little guy. All right. So that is, I don't know if anybody's had sugar cane, but it'd be kind of like gnawing on that, where you just kind of keep gnawing on it. So I'm going to cut this. And then, hey, do you want to talk about the serrano pepper?
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Here's your
The
thing.
recipe called for a jalapeno, but we actually got serrano, and it is about 4 times hotter than a jalapeno. And so I took a bite, and I was down for the count for a while. So we took out the seeds and the little fleshy part, and we were able to there it is, and just mince and dice it. So hopefully it won't be too hot. If you do have a jalapeno or another pepper, just try to get all the seeds out, because that's what really brings the heat. Unless you like the heat, and then you can just kind of sprinkle
And
it
the
in there with it.
membrane too, right?
Yeah. So
That's good. Yeah, he had to look up because I guess the units on, there's the scale of the hotness scale for the peppers, and he was saying 2,500 is
for a
jalapeno.
jalapeno,
Yeah, and then
8 to
serrano.
10,000, yeah, for the serrano. So it was about 4 times hotter.
So it's kind of funny, I guess. Not funny, but so I was at the grocery store, and they did not have any sort of jalapeno anything. So, yeah, he showed me the sweet bell peppers, and I was like, I don't think that's gonna work quite the same. But I guess serrano would be like the other direction. We just went hotter instead of less hot. Okay, so I'm putting in pineapple, and I guess I was doing half the recipe. So that's the nice thing about fruit salads is you can kind of do it different ways. Oh, we'll put in
Grapefruit.
We got ruby red, and then we have sauce. Okay, so I'm gonna use 1 tablespoon. I have canola oil, so that's that, and you can use olive oil. I think it just wanted, really kind of a neutral flavor for that. And then 1 tablespoon of white wine vinegar. So white wine vinegar is a little bit different in that it's really crisp and dry, and a little bit less harsh than the white wine vinegar, but not colored. So we put in a tablespoon of that, and we need mint. What else do we need? Mango. Did I put the whole mango in there?
We left a slice somewhere. Right?
I might have put the whole mango in the other salad. Okay. All right. So mango goes in here too, but we'll do our modified version. We'll put in the serrano. Okay. So then we have the white wine vinegar in there. We have the
Serrano.
serrano. Okay. So we have grapefruit and pineapple. And you can use different multiples, different ingredients for this too. So the kind of the special thing about this is the dressing. So it'd be that white wine vinegar plus olive oil plus what we're doing then is mint. So mint has a big role in this, and the serrano, right? Okay, so and juice and zest of 1 lime. And I have to tell you, if you've never zested a lime, you really gotta. The flavor, the smell is just amazing. How fresh it is. So I have my zester here. But the idea is just to get off the green part because the white part is a little bit bitter. Got that? You smell it?
Looks like lime.
Yeah. Okay, so we get the zest of it and then the juice of it. You got the juicer. Juicer's ready. Stand by. Okay.
Andrea, if someone wasn't able to have grapefruit, what would be another citrus fruit that might be a good option?
Oh gosh, I would say, even in the recipe, I'm pretty sure it says, okay, like the recipe calls for grapefruit, mango, and pineapple, but you can use almost any combination of fruit. So that's really nice is you can either leave it out, or I would suggest using an orange if you could use other citrus. Yeah, do you have any ideas? Or Wendy, do you have ideas? What would you think would be good?
My first thought was an orange, or even some of like the mandarin oranges.
Oh yeah, and you
Make
know
it
what?
simple.
Yeah,
Or like a tangelo.
That'd
Yeah.
be good.
and the cool thing too is, like in this recipe, right? You can use canned pineapple, and you could, like Wendy was talking about, you can get the jarred grapefruit, or you could use mandarin oranges. So it's like the idea is you could kind of put together your own fruit salad with a little olive oil, vinegar, and then like a little spice of the pepper. So what are we missing here? So a dash of cayenne and the mint leaves. Okay, so you see how this is really flavorful, right? So that's kind of cool. So mint, it goes really well with sweet things, which is something really good about that. So you kind of, mint chocolate chip, right? But it really brings out kind of that flavor. So we got that, and dash of cayenne, and
And it's got a lot of different colors in there too. It's pretty.
and a dash of salt to taste, maybe less. Perfect. All right. Well, we made a good mess over here. I don't know what your kitchen looks like, but probably cleaner than ours. Okay, so those are the two recipes. We have chili lime fruit salad, and then with extra serrano, and then we have the fruit chaat. So it's kind of both fruit, but definitely different flavors. So whichever one looks good to you. I have to say, I do love the fruit chaat, and I haven't gotten to try this yet, so maybe I can try it right with you guys. And it's good. Okay, so like the vinegar, it kind of brings out, and then the pepper and the mint. It is really good. You want to try a pineapple?
I think the serrano scarred me. So I'll hold off, but looks good.
Okay, so that's all we have. Like, do you guys have any questions? And thank you so much for putting up with the computer issues tonight and for staying on so long. So thanks for your patience.
No, that was great. Can you hold up I want to see the dishes a little closer to the camera so we can see the colors?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Awesome.
That's Exhibit A. And then we have
Looks
Exhibit
good.
B.
I love the one with the mint.
Smells good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have
we
you
gotta-
tried it, Wendy? Did you make that one for a class once?
I've only made the fruit chaat. I haven't made that other dish, but I think I'd like to do that this weekend.
I know. Yeah. I've always looked at it and been like, I don't know, So then when there's other option, but I think I would
Yep.
make it too. Because it's really refreshing, like especially for the summer, which, it's so
Yeah.
hot.
It is miserably hot, but we've got all of these wonderful fruit salads now to try. Laura, did we have anything in the chat that we missed?
No, just saying fantastic, informative, and entertaining.
Entertaining. You guys are like, get your computer to work, Andrea.
You have
Awesome.
a lovely
Well,
kitchen.
They were commenting on your lovely kitchen. I
Oh,
love it
yeah.
myself.
It looks
I need
very
that background.
I have to
That's
tell you guys, I have
awesome.
a Mediterranean background, and I think I have a class with you guys next week. I should try to change the background just to make so it looks like we're in the Mediterranean.
No, this is fantastic. So
This
we hope
one
you
is
guys
perfect.
will enjoy enjoy tonight and join us next week for another round of Med Instead of Meds. And we do have another session coming up on Thursday, not Med Instead of Meds, but for healthy eating on a budget. But Josh and Andrea, thank you guys so very much. It was amazing. Lots of good information, and we look forward to seeing everyone next week. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, you guys.